Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be one of my most exciting discussions. We have a chit chat about how you run a successful business. We've got Joe Courtney in the building. He's the owner and president of Home Source Custom Homes. You're based out here in St. Louis, in the South St. Louis area, Arnold.
Yes.
Is where you're based out of. And how many people out there would love to build their own home? I mean, when I was a kid, I used to build the forts and the little tree houses and all that fun stuff. And so now here you are, and now you're building houses for people, custom.
Yep.
Tell me what
doing the real thing.
Doing the real thing in the real world. What's it like, Joe?
I love it. As a kid, I loved it. Like you said, building forts, and I used to love doing that. We grew up, I wouldn't say in the woods, but woods was all around us, and we'd get out in the woods and build us a little fort. We had my dad built our home when I was 5, and we had a pile of wood that I had access to. So that's where all the wood came for the forts, and he had nails and hammer left over. So at a young age, I was experimenting, and I feel like I did a good fort. You know, it was for 6, 7, it was pretty good. It had a roof, everything. So, anyway, I've always been excited about building, and then when I was 8, we had a pool, and the deck was rotten, so me and my dad redid the deck around the pool, and that was really my first experience of actually building, and that's where I really figured out that, hey, I really like this, and ever since then I wanted to be a carpenter. So.
Well, you talked to me a little bit about you started doing some of this when you were just a little kid.
Yeah. And
then when you got through high school, you were already part of the business, ready to start doing the permit, the fun part, the permit side. They put that on you. But you got to learn everything from the permits all the way up.
All the way up, yeah. And at 16, during the summer, I was on carpenter crews. And lucky enough, my dad put me on good crews, so I learned from the right people. I kind of understood everything, and I kept a list of questions for the end, and by the time we got to the end, there was maybe 4, but I had figured it out just by going through the whole process of the build to figure out why they were doing something. But at the end, I had 4. They answered them, so I felt like I learned a lot. So.
Well, very cool. So you are literally helping people to build their own homes, and leads in great to our sponsors here as we talk about Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your little castle. You're helping people to build their own castles.
That's right.
And so that's dynamite. And we always love to share the fact that we've got a great sponsor in Carroll House. And again, building houses, giving them their little castle. We got to put some nice furniture in those castles too. So with that, we give a shout out to Carroll House Furniture. At the same time, we also have made a great partnership with USA Mortgage. I currently do have an active license for a number of years now as a mortgage loan officer. And so if you'd like to get a loan, if you need some help with that, we'll help finance the house that Joe can build for you and make that all happen for you. So with that, we'll jump into your website and the excitement you've got. We've got a great looking Facebook page. You got a lot of followers there too, and a lot going on to make this exciting. So Joe, tell me, why did you decide this is what you wanted to do? I kind of like you didn't have a choice. You were kind of, it was ingrained as a child.
I think you're right, but it didn't feel that way, I guess. My dad did start the company when I was 11, and it happened to fit me perfectly. Anyway, I feel like, growing up, just being curious, I learned a lot on my own. Now, my dad had never built a home, but just been in sales his whole life. He knew a lot. Definitely knew how to run the business, and he definitely knew a lot of people in the industry, which made it easier, I guess, for him. But I kind of started as a carpenter and worked my way up, and then got into the office. Did siding, roofing, all that stuff. So I was pretty versed by the time I got out of high school, and the permit stuff wasn't easy, but that's where they started me out. And anyway, it was fun. It was still fun, even though it was difficult. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, how many of us, our passion we developed from something we learned as a child? I mean, for me, it was taking ground balls in the backyard, playing baseball, and just all the time. A lot of kids be like, that's work. I guess the rest of the neighborhood thought it was,
Yeah.
because they didn't join in. They didn't do the same thing. But to me, that was fun. So it's something that you started very young and really built into it. Now, president, running your own company, really helping people attain that ultimate goal to have their own little castle. That is
Right.
so cool.
Yeah, and I think the joy is we're not doing the same home over and over. It's exactly what the customer wants. So that puts a little bit of detail in the home you don't typically get in most homes, and just the joy of watching it's their dream home, watching their dream home actually be built, and they actually get to move in and just see the look on their face. All that stuff is really great. So.
Well, that's the key. I mean, they say you'll never work a day in your life if you do what you love, and it sounds like you follow your passion here and really making it happen for yourself. And it helps make it easier for the family, the wife, and everybody. Make it easier. You all work together on this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that, you talked about a little bit. We were talking about the pregame prep. We talk about that in the bullpen, but. What was the passion of yours that developed that really led to this? Was it when you got that first hands-on, when you were building that deck for the pool, and then everything else became kind of...
That was definitely it, but then actually being on the carpenter crew, doing the work, I still loved it. So I started in low, but towards the end of the house, I was above the lower guys. You know what I mean? But I always stayed busy too. If I didn't have anything to do, I went right to the lead guy and said, hey, what do you want me to do next? And he'd give me a list of stuff to do. I'd go do it and come back for more, you know.
I was known for helping my dad a little bit along those lines also, but I would take the screwdriver and then drop it down the drain because that looked like whatever would fit. That was my dad. I was his opponent. But you had more of an affinity for. You were really out there helping, making it happen, and getting the work done. But when you start at that young of an age, and you're actually you've been a licensed carpenter, and so actually out there in the field doing the work, and you get to help the guys periodically too.
Yeah, at 19 I was building log homes on my own. I had my own crew, stuff like that too. So I learned very quick, and reading blueprints was very easy for me too. And I'm lucky enough, and there's a lot of people that can visualize looking at blueprints, but there's a lot of people that can't. So I was fortunate to where I could see it. I could see a finished product when I'm looking at it. So I pictured all the rooms, the size of them, what it was going to look like, and there's a lot of people that can't do that. So
yeah, having that big mind perspective to big picture perspective, I should say, to kind of see the abstract, to understand the way this is going to fit together and turn into a beautiful final work of art that's going to be functional and provide the resources for a family. That's got to be kind of a visionary. You can see where you're going with that.
Right.
Okay. How long have you actually been in the business now, and how long, with regard to, so when you say you were 19, but you were 16 before that when you were working.
I'm going to say 33 years I've been in the business. So pretty much when I graduated high school.
Okay.
I've been in this business or building a home on my own, or working with a roofing crew, carpenter crew, siding crew, foundation crews, flat work people. I had hands-on in all these things, so I feel like that's why I'm so knowledgeable today.
Yeah, that provides a distinct advantage so that you can be functionally involved to make sure that everything's getting done the right way.
Right.
We talked a little bit about that before. I had somebody question how I knew something was supposed to get done. I go, because I've done it myself. Same thing. You get to say,
exactly right.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how this is. Don't try to tell me what we're doing here. I'll make sure this gets done. And you can check everything, make sure, or help them with problems too.
Yep. And just the problems are really, we haven't built it before. So each house, we like to say it's like a art picture. It's there's no other one like it. So there's a few little things that you may have to, some people would call it an issue. I just call it part of, we haven't built this before.
Right.
So, and all the stuff I get to talk to engineers about, architects about, that's also really fun for me. So designing the dream home and making sure it's structurally sound, and we end up with a great product at the end. So
Well, like I said, if you're an expert and you can really make things, you can provide a solution for somebody. That's the way. Well, my dad said you're going to have to specialize in something at some point in
Yeah.
your life, something that people need. It's hard to imagine there's not anything more elementary towards what people need other than a place to live, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, there's so many components to a house too. So, you know how you say specialize in something. I guess I am specialized in building homes, but there's so much that goes into it. You really have to know a lot of things to pull it off. You know what I mean? And I know there's a lot of DIY stuff going on. A homeowner can do it, but it's not easy. So you got to know the people, and they got to show up and do it. You know what I mean? So are they going to work for me, or are they going to work for a one customer? You know what I mean? So I seem to have a little more pull because I get more work to them. You know what I mean? So they put a single homeowner off and build my stuff versus their stuff because I'm a repeat customer, you know,
Okay.
to them. So,
Right.
but
That's important when you're developing the. Like I said, I can imagine there's so much that goes into a home, like you're talking about, and I guess there's so much at stake. A lot of times, when you're the foundation up to the walls and your floors and your ceiling, there's so many places for mistakes, so many places something that could go wrong. You get to be a part of that whole thing. Is that a little bit of a benefit you bring to the table too?
it is, well, and again, because I know I've done it, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's a huge benefit. But, you know, we also make sure we're hiring qualified subs too. So the individual don't really know if they're qualified or not.
Right.
We do. So
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah. Well, if you're the one who's running the company, you have been working with the crews you've been working with for so many years.
yeah.
You got your hand on all that. Some of the bigger builders, we're not going to say any names, we're not diminishing any of that, but they're subbing out a lot of stuff that gets so
Yeah, we got a lot
elaborate.
of really good builders in St. Louis. I mean, we really do. A lot of good ones. So even with the HBA, we get to meet with everybody's friends at the HBA. We're all got the same common goal. There's plenty of work for all of us, you know. So, but all these builders are great here in St. Louis. So
And you just get to kind of fit in with your caveat to build like custom home for somebody
Yeah.
who says, hey, I can make this thing exactly the way you want it to. How does this normally get started? If people say, here's the outline, here's the format, here's just kind of my dream. How do you take them
So-
through the process?
in a perfect world, they've been to our website. They've looked at our. We have a library of houses, and they found something somewhat close that would work for their family. So we kind of look at it as how do you live in a home, not really what kind of home do you want, how do you live in it, and we try to design around that. But if they can get us a start, and let's say they really like the look of this home, but the master bedroom isn't big enough, or we need an extra bedroom, we can add an extra bedroom, make the master bedroom bigger. Like, we can change it, but if we can just get somewhere close to something they like. We also ask questions to try to figure out how they live in a home. So if they entertain a lot, you're going to want open space. You know, you're not going to want, well, you might want a section off dining room, but for the most part, if you entertain a lot, you'd have a big open area, and you also want to try to connect an outdoor area to the indoor area to make it one big livable
sense.
space. You know, so it really depends on the client, and then we can just hone in any kind of floor plan they could come up with, and we'd like them to come see us first because we're concerned about their budget, and we try to hone them in square foot wise to fit their budget. And as we're talking to them, there's certain things they got to have, stuff like that. We'll incorporate that stuff in. But our design phase is the first thing we do. We try to get the house the way they like it. Once they say, I love this, this is great, then we price it. Then if they like the price, then we go to blueprint. That way, I mean, one of the bigger issues I see, people come in with a blueprint, we price it, they can't afford it. And the reason for that is the architect doesn't know what it costs. He's giving them what they want. He's got a list of questions. Oh yeah, I want that. I want that. I want a 4-car garage. I want a big old wraparound porch. All these things cost a lot of money.
Right.
So when we have a budget, we're trying to hone them in and get them into their size home that fits their budget. Some things we've done to help. Once that price comes out, we have a price presentation. So it tells us how cheap we can build a house, like the cheapest we can build it. And then it lists at the bottom all the things that are extra that they asked for. And it also puts a dollar value by them. So if you wanted a 9-foot pour versus an 8-foot pour, the cheapest price is going to have the 8-foot pour. But if you want to bump up to 9, and I'm making numbers up, it's $4,000 to a 9-foot floor. And then if you want 9-foot walls on the first floor, there's a price for that. So then the customer can look at this sheet and really price their own home at that point. I don't really need the vaulted ceiling. I don't really need 8-foot doors, It's a really helpful tool to get everybody in the right budget.
So this doesn't matter of them just saying, draw something up and we'll figure it out. You've got a lot for them to choose from, historical homes you've done. So here's kind of some ideas, some outlines for them, if you will, and then they can customize that from there and pick the separate parts, even down to the 8-foot versus 9-foot pour. I know that was an option when I got my house built. I was like, oh yeah, we want the 9, and then we decided to cut the costs a little bit, and we took that out. I don't even know which floor it was, but versus the basement. But those things, right there, it'll tell them, here's that price difference, and here's how much you can save by doing that, or how much extra it costs to add those
they
things.
can take this piece of paper home now. They haven't spent any money with us at this point either. So until we go to Blueprint, we don't ask for any money. So we're trying to get the price right. We're trying to get the house right, the price right, and then go do that. So, but they can take this sheet home and discuss it amongst themselves. Like, do we really need this? So we say, if you don't want it, draw a line through it. If you want it, just leave it be. So then they email us back the sheet, and then we'll correct the numbers and get them their exact price.
But this is literally taken by a draftsman, an architect who says, okay, now I'll assemble this with everything they've got. This lays this way, and it has to fit in that way, and this is what it looks like. And then you show them the blueprint, and where does it go from there?
So we start with preliminaries, because there's usually still some changes they want to make, like once they actually see it. And then once they get the preliminaries to where they want them, at that point, now it's contract time. So it's time to fill out the paperwork and get moving. So, we ask for a 10% down payment at that point. And if you don't have the funds, most people do now, ever since 2008. I think almost everybody knows they got to have 20% now.
Right. Okay.
So usually the customer has it. If they don't, we have a couple other ways to get around that. So to where they're paying for the blueprints for one, but for us to get permits together, we got to do surveys, stuff like that. So it's a lesser fee, so that we can keep moving. And then, every once in a while, they just don't have the funds, and then at that point, we just wait till the loan closes. So there's a period that we're trying to get the loan closed, that we're actually not working on the house, but as soon as it closes, we start doing permits and all that other stuff. But we always got a way to get them going. So.
Yeah, well, there's a process here. You've nailed this down. Nailed it down. See what they did there? Building a house. But it's a matter of a function for what people need to realize is getting this thing done. They can have the input. I've had a couple houses built, but I never got to have input about how the blueprints got laid out or what to customize things that much. I can say, I want that added package they put together for me, but how do you get to determine the rest of that?
Well, that's the beauty, I think, of our company. You get exactly what you want. So we build on their property. So they're also getting to live where they want. You know what I mean? So you get the house you want, you get to live where you want. And really, so when you're designing this on paper and they actually see it, like when we get done, man, the looks on their faces. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of them. They did it. Like, we just put it together. Right. They designed it. The customer did, not us. So.
Well, we're not getting into the hardcore questions I start to get into. We're going to get some of those too. As a matter of, what fuels your passion, and I want to jump in right now. We'll show you got some great reviews, so let's put that up on for everybody to see on the wall. Home Source, Bird's Eye. A lot of people are familiar with. I'm going to put that up here for everybody to see. But look at that. Yeah, 4.6, 21 reviews there. That's just getting started. You've got the BBB, where you've got the A+, and then we've got Google over here too, and another 11 reviews, 4.3 on those. And I think you saw, well, and we're going to go back to your Facebook page because bunch of people have given you reviews there, and that's pretty cool too, because another list of 26 people. So altogether, you're close to 60, 70, 80 reviews. And average, well, these are 5.0. Wow, you got some happy customers out there that really like what you're doing on Facebook. So, Joe, good work. Obviously, with what you're doing, people enjoy it, and they're reflecting that in what they have to say about you in the reviews that you have.
Yeah, well, we strive to be great, and not perfect, but great. And we want to be known as a great builder. We build a great house. Even these, we've done some Home-A-Rama, City-Rama houses where 14 builders get together and they all build a house, and there's awards given, and ours, we won the most sound home.
Really?
Which means a lot to me, you know
Sure.
what I mean? So that's back to where I was in the field. I see this stuff, and any issue we've had throughout the years, I've seen it, I've heard it, I've fixed it. So we've improved upon from day one till now, and you know, code is a minimum. So like something we pride ourselves on, or our subfloors they're overrated, over code, and the steel sizes are, our spans are longer, our steel's bigger, so we don't have that deflection, stuff like that. It's just little stuff we do that doesn't really cost a lot, but it really makes a great home, and that's all standard when you build with us. So
very, very important as a matter of outline. And if people do, we're going to talk about how do people get started with you, but I want to jump in here and show a little bit. You've got right on here, price your plan. If you go to your website, this is on the front page, price your plan. This takes you, I've got that tab open once already, but yeah, right here, it allows people to start plugging in a little bit of information, and you're off to the races. Now you can figure out how they fit, where their budget, what they're really looking for, and how they can construct that. And this will help them to get started with you, and they really have a good idea of what they're getting into then.
it will. So when you hit submit, that information comes to us, and then we can compute it out and kind of tell you where you're at. Like, we'll call you within a day or two, and once we get it computed, and like a lot of people don't even know what they can afford. So there's some questions on there that help us give them a budget if they don't even have a budget. Our budget stuff doesn't take into account debt. You know what I mean? We don't get into the bank will, but we don't, you know what I mean? So, but then we also ask square foot you want, and then you can tell real quick if you're in budget, or if you're in line with your budget with the size house you want. And the best way really is to come in, you know, but this will, when a customer comes in, they have all these questions, and I think this sheet answers some of them. So, but then when you come in, you know, there's so many things in a house too. Like, this is a ballpark number. It's not a final number, but at least let you know.
He said ballpark to everybody. That's why I
Yeah.
put the head on. But when you talk about the community, that's when we really bring out the hat. So you're really helping people get down to exactly what they need, so they understand what they're getting into. I mean, how do you determine? I mean, because when I've got a list of 6 house construction options with whatever builder, it's pretty cut and dry.
Right.
But when I'm custom building something, the options are endless, I guess. Do you want one pool or a pool and a hot tub and
Yeah.
everything else you can add to that? But you can really hone that in for them to say, well, let's shave a little bit over here, shave a little over there, so you can still get that pool, or you can still get the hot
Right.
tub, and add all that together and get the three car garage, etc. And you get to really help them determine that and fit it into their budget.
We do, and then we also, through our pricing stage, ask, and they don't have to. We got historic numbers we could use, but you could actually go pick your flooring. You can go pick your kitchen. You can go pick your countertops, and we can throw them numbers into the cost. So we'll actually send you out to the people we use to get the materials from. So,
Down to the supplier of the materials, you've
Yeah.
got it all.
you know, the more accurate the number is, the better. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So,
Well, I switched the screen up here. A couple of pictures. You've got some great work that you guys have done here. This is off your Facebook page, But there's a kind of a, what do you call that? Is it Art Deco,
So
new modern style
modern,
house?
yeah.
What exactly
So-
is that everybody's looking at right there?
These modern houses, something else we do is SIPs with the structural insulated panel system.
Okay.
It's plywood, 6 inches of foam and plywood. Now these houses are 2.5 times stronger than just normal stick built, and they're
Really?
energy efficient. So just think about a cooler that you'd put your drinks in. You're basically building the house out of it's basically a cooler.
Okay.
So, energy efficient, why it costs a little more, but you're not paying our favorite Ameren money each month. You know,
Okay.
it's going in your pocket. So now you can maybe go out to dinner one more time a week. So, and then we do the ICF Foundation. So we do a lot of green, energy efficient building also. And a lot of people don't offer that either. So that's another plus. But this is a SIPS home here. And it's almost commercial looking, but modern is what I would call that.
Yeah, that's a unique style design you got there, and it looks. I mean, that's something that somebody say, "Hey, man, I want something that stands out."
Yeah.
There you go.
That's it.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're into it now, everybody. This is a lot of great custom stuff, great custom work. You know, when you get something custom, they're paying attention to a lot of what's going on there to make sure that they get it the way you like it. Tell me that with that in mind, what is one thing that you feel really sets you guys apart from the rest? I mean, pretty custom.
I really
this
think
is-
it's our build custom for less program, so that we do a turnkey, so we'll handle the job all the way through. But we also do, we call it a white box. So we bring the house to drywall stage, it's sanded, ready to paint. So from there, the customer can do all the finishes on their own if they want. A lot of people don't, they just hire our subs to come in and finish it, but they're saving a 10% contractor fee from us if they handle them things on their own. Now the licensed subs we handle all the way through, so it's just the finish. It's really like the flooring, the paint on the wall, the kitchen, the countertops. It's the fun stuff, the stuff they want to pick. And so we don't say A, B, or C. We send them to the cabinet place. They can pick anything they want. They can go to their own cabinet place. We've had customers build their own cabinets.
Okay.
Did a pretty good job too.
Really?
Yeah.
Another unique opportunity people have with this is we've talked a little bit about before the show, and tell me if that's what you're talking about there, and that is they can get everything up to where the walls are finished but they're not painted, and you let them go in and they can then go in and bring in their own painter or paint them themselves.
Right.
Have their brother Joe who does some painting. It saves them a lot of money to do so, but you get all the way up to almost finished and then let them finish it off. Is that
Yeah,
something?
That's it. That's our build custom for less program.
Okay, that is that program.
Yeah, that's that used to be all we did. So
Right.
when my dad was in that's all we did. So then they would basically take off from there, and then we were losing some deals because nobody had time to do it because they're working. So I'm like, I mean, we're kind of in the position to finish it, so let's just finish it. You know, so it's a 10% fee you're saving if you do the build custom.
Yeah,
for
on
less.
$25,000 on a $250,000.
Or here, check this out. If there's a sale on a product, they benefit from it. Not me, they do.
Okay.
The customer does.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the first half hour. We got a lot more to discuss. We got another half hour we're going to do with this. Stay tuned for more. You're watching the Your Little Castle Show.